we're here together in this you-ish thing. Right? We're going to talk a little bit about lost. What does that look like? What does lost look like? It's a lot of different ways in which you can be lost, right? You can be lost like May 23rd, 2010. You can be lost that way. Right? I mean, you knew I had to talk about. I mean, it just goes hand in hand, Final episode though, still. It's triggering. Right? But lost not lost like this, not like losing keys or losing nail clippers. Not that type of lost. You might lose headphones. That's not really the loss that we're really focusing on today, though. Right? And the biggest lost thing of all, right? Like this mysterious thing that has been researched for years and years, and we still haven't really found out like the cause of it or the end of what this thing is. This particular loss, though, I'm not even talking about this particular loss, either, right? Where do they go? Where are they? Right? But not that lost. Us. All right, the loss that we don't really want to talk about. That tough loss, like us being lost. And it's like, what are we lost in? Right? What are we running from? What are we running to? What are we trying to figure out in this thing? And it really boils down to like the question that get asked over and over and over again, and we really have to just be honest with ourselves, is like, who am I? Not the me that like the world wants me to be, or that my boss thinks I should be, or the me that even my family or my children think I should be. But who am I? Like, who do I really think I am? Who do you think you are? Like, who do we think we are? Because what we think about ourselves is of the most importance. Everything else will fall in line, but if we don't have a positive outlook on ourselves, if we don't have a positive outlook on who we are, then everything else is trivial. Right? Like nothing else really matters. So we ask ourselves, like, what are we lost in? Are we lost in going left when we should have went right? Too afraid to write out the vision and make it plain, so we just stay in the same lane, never going against the grain that would make our lives a lot better. We just stay here doing exactly the same thing, never ever moving forward, stuck in the same position without a morning star to light our path. So we laugh instead of cry, because that's really how we feel on the inside. So we hide. Why are we hiding? Like, what are we hiding from? Is it peer pressure? Maybe that's it. Maybe it's peer pressure. Maybe it's peer pressure. He's looking at me like, dude, I don't have peer pressure. I'm grown. There's no peer pressure. I got children. I'm 40, dude. Peer pressure, right? What is that? No peer pressure here. I pay taxes, man. I don't have peer pressure. And so someone asked me, like, hey, what does peer pressure look like for an adult? Oh, yeah, okay. All right, baby. Instagram. Yeah. Instagram is the adult peer pressure, right? Instagram is the middle school cafeteria on the first day of school at a brand new school. That's what Instagram is, right? And not only is it the first day of school, right? You walking into a school and you have on not Nikes, but you got on Ikes, right? Yeah. Your grandmother bought you the Ikes, and your mama was like, your grandma bought you these shoes. You gonna wear these shoes to school, right? Yeah. So yeah, Instagram is like the new middle school cafeteria, right? Yeah, for adults, it is, right? Bob walks to your desk, hey man, 87 likes on my fishing trip picture. Yeah. Well, what you got? You like look at your phone and the post you made, and you like, I got about 15 and a possible. This is my bowling championship picture. I thought more people would like it. We won the bowling championship. I thought this would be, I guess, not really that important to people. So you're now down and frustrated and sad because enough people didn't like your bowling championship picture. Now you're asking yourself, should I just delete it? Or maybe I didn't post it at the right time. Let me go look up where you should post pictures to get the highest engagement, right? You're lost in social media. So now, something that doesn't matter that much has taken control of your emotions. We are emotionally lost and attached to an app. See how I put that emphasis on the last little piece that we're to an app, right? It's an app. It's an app. And honestly, like if you were born before 2010, you should remember a time before this was around. What was your life like before the app came? I think you were okay. Right? That was a time before the internet. It was the 80s, right? You remember the 80s? Who remembers the 80s? You remember the 80s? You remember the 80s? You remember the 80s? Yeah, the 80s, you know what I'm saying? The 70s, take it back in car, man. That's right? But what about 80s or the 80s or the 90s you that would look at you today and look at your emotional state and say, wow, hey, 80s or 90s me with my mother and 16 candles. I'm addicted to something that I hold in my hand and I take my index finger and I do like that. And that controls my emotions for an entire day. 80s and 90s, you look at you like, great. Have you lost your mind? All right? But we're attached. And then we get lost. We put all this pressure on ourselves. And we're like, I don't have it, I'm not as good as, like, stop. Welcome to life. Right? It happens. It's an act. It's a noun. It's not a person. It's not a place. It's a thing. And it's not a greater thing than the living, breathing you. It can be deleted if necessary. Let it get lost in Google Playland or Apple Store storage. I mean, you're at war with an unnecessary adversary that is continuing to beat you down into the ground for absolutely no reason at all. You have the power. You have the ability to change the narrative. Public service announcement. Public service announcement, just in case you didn't know. Being lost does not make you a loser. Right? I'm just lost. And I just don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I'm lost. Okay, you're not a loser. It's okay, cry. It's all right, but you're not a loser. Stop thinking that you're a loser because you don't have it all together. This is life. Welcome. Hey, glad you're here. Glad you made it, right? Yeah. Like, we're not honest with ourselves. Being lost is a part of the journey. It's a part of our journey. But it's really also understanding, like, how do you see things? the lens in which you view life, the lens in which you view yourself. Because this is what we do, right? We have these filters that we wear in real life, right? We call them masks, and we wear these masks, and we're so afraid of being authentic. We don't want to be authentic. We want to put on airs. We want to pretend like we're something that we're not to impress people that really don't even care about us. So instead of being authentic, instead of being my true self, because I'm afraid, bless you, of what you're going to say, right? Because sometimes life, you're going to have these moments in life where like sneezes come out of nowhere, and you're just like, oh, I just sneezed, sorry. Like, okay, it's life, it happens, like you keep it rolling, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we have to do. But we get so caught up because we're trying to pretend to be something that we're not, to please people so that they're comfortable. I stay uncomfortable. I shrink down so that you feel good about the fake me. We're lost. But if we change our thought process, right, then we don't have to stay lost. But it starts with a thought. It starts with our mindset. It starts with where we choose to begin. And it also starts with our perspective, how you see things. There was a man, he was taking his children to school. It was a rainy morning like today. He had to stop and get them breakfast. They stopped, they got breakfast. His daughter goes in the bag. She's like, Daddy, put nothing in here. I don't have my hash browns. I don't have my baked eggs or sausage biscuit. I don't have nothing. So the dad's like, crap. So they're already past the restaurant. So they have to keep driving. He has to stop again, get breakfast again for them. It's raining. He gets the bag, puts the bag in the car. The bottom of the bag busts open, right? All the food falls on the floor in the car. The dad is just like losing his mind, like he's trying not to lose it, but he's trying to keep it together. Finally gets the kids to school. He's almost late for work. He's driving to work, and he hears a sound. And he looks, and he realizes that he has a flat tire. So he gets out in the middle of the car in the rain. He's going to change the tire. And for whatever reason, one of the lug nuts is not coming off. He's doing everything he can. You know, he's stepping on it. He's jumping down off the top rope on it. Like the lug nut is just not coming loose, right? And so he's just frustrated. He's just screaming out loud, like, why is this happening today? Right? Just jerking just like that, right? So he has to get the car towed. Gets it to the shop, and they say, hey, sir, this car, the tire is really bad. It's a lot of rust, so you're gonna have to fix it. And he's just like, whatever, just do it, just fix it. And, and they fix it. He finally gets to work super late. He's on his way up the elevator to a meeting, and then the elevator stops. The elevator just stops working, and he just, again, screams, why is this happening to me? Right? And he's in the elevator with a lady. And she's like, are you all right? He's like, no, this has been a terrible morning. The breakfast was wrong. The kids were late. Got tired. Had to pay money because the car shop trying to overcharge you for everything, right? Then I get here and I got a meeting and I'm late and I'm just frustrated. And now I'm here. I'm stuck in this elevator. Now I'm here, stuck in here. And he's like, I'm sorry. I just had to vent. She's like, it's all right. It's tough. It's rough. And so he says, well, where are you headed? And she's like, I'm going up to the 5th floor. I have a meeting with the insurance agent. I've had a few surgeries, and so I'm just going to kind of make sure everything is all right with my insurance. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, what type of surgery have you had? And she has like, I have a rare form of cancer, but I've had to have 9 surgeries over the past year and a half. And he was like, oh, wow. She's like, hey, but it's all right. Like I'm still breathing. I'm still alive. Like I'm here, right? I'm here. 2 different I'm here's. 2 different perspectives. What is your perspective of your lost situation? If you wake up and look at your perspective of being lost as, oh, I'm lost again, then you're gonna forever be lost. Change the narrative. Change how you see a thing and watch how it changes for you. So why can't today be the day that it changes? Like, why do we have to wait on some magical thing to happen? We have to wait on January 1st. Oh, the change is gonna happen, right? Yeah, it's gonna happen, right? And I'm just like, what magical thing happens on January the 1st? Why not today? 6 Mondays left in the year. It's a lot of time. That's 6 weeks. That's a lot of time to get something done. Imagine your progress 6 weeks from now if you decided to start today, right? Because there's no requirement on saying that, hey, you can't begin if you can't begin today. Life doesn't say, oh, you can't start today. Come back on Thursday, then you can start on Thursday. Life doesn't do that to us. We make the decision, we make the choice to say when we'll start, when we'll begin. As long as you're smart with your heart, you can start wherever you choose to. And you want to use your goals and your ammunition to spark something dope that helps to change your mindset. You can go from lost to found really easy. So we're going to do this, right? Everybody on this side, right here, you're going to say lost. Everybody on this side, right here, you're going to say found. And you're going to do the hand things, all right, just like the airport. All right, everybody ready? Here we go.
Lost.
Okay.
Found.
We're going to try it again. Lost, I got to get it together. They're not playing with y'all. We're going to try it again.
Lost. Found. Lost. Found. Lost. Found. Lost. Found.
There's this certain energy and synergy that happens when we go from lost to found, and from found to lost, from lost to found. They don't go together, they go together. It's like up with no down. It's a beautiful thing when you really start to realize that in the midst of silence, with no sound, if you really understand where you stand, it's a profound thing to see that you can turn it all around. You don't have to stay lost. You can choose to be found. But how do we do that? Well, you got to change your mind. Change your thought process. Change what you do. All right? Find the truth in yourself. Find the truth that lies in the proof of the work that you've already done, and the work will work because you're working. And you're searching for that thing that will help elevate you and take you to the next level of life. And it's a journey that you're on. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a little time. It's going to take a little sweat. But when you really allow yourself that space and grace to grow, you'd be amazed at how the energy and the work will flow. Do you think about it? You could easily stay in your bubble, protected. This is a nice bubble, right? Got cable TV in my bubble. I'm good, Disney Plus. I'm straight. I'm good in my bubble, right? But the thing about bubbles is bubbles pop. And when your bubble pops and you're left exposed, and you haven't exposed yourself to other people, you haven't exposed yourself to other culture, you haven't exposed yourself to anything but what you know, then you're lost, and you don't even realize that you're lost. You're living in a world that is forever changing, and it will not go back. It's going to continue to move forward. So why not get lost in the passion? Get lost in the truth. Your lost is not any better or any greater than someone else's lost. Just because it's different doesn't mean that it's wrong. We're both in the mud, but you're like, my mud is muddier, so it's different. What? Lost is lost. Open up your perspective. Life is bigger than what is outside of your front door. But if we never take the time to connect, if we never take the time to really grow with each other, then we find ourselves staying in the same place. Lost. Learn or stay troubled. Learn or stay troubled. Because it will not change unless you change it. It doesn't get better unless you choose to get better. And how do we do that? Well, we start to see other people's points of view. All right? We start to realize that, hey, like what you're going through, it matters. what you're dealing with, it matters. So we get a little bit of empathy. All right? It's hard. That's a hard word for a lot of people. Because it really means I gotta get down here with you. I gotta put myself in your shoes. I gotta put myself in your position. And we don't want to do that. I don't want to get uncomfortable. I want to stay where I'm at. I want to tell you, like, sorry, hope everything works out. See you later, right? That's what I want to do. Like, I don't want to get in here with you and have to deal with it and sit with you and talk with you and try to understand your experience. I don't want to get lost. That's too much for me. It doesn't make me feel good. How are you supposed to grow that? How are you supposed to get better? If you choose to stay the same, how do you improve upon what you think? There was a boy, he wanted a dog, and this lady had a whole lot of dogs on the side of the road by this field, and there were puppies running everywhere, and there was a mother dog up by this tree, and the boy was like, "Mama, can I have a dog?" And she was like, "Well," he was like, "Please, can I have a dog? Mama, please, Mama, please." You know how kids get, please, Mama, please. Okay, well, you can have a dog, right? They just wear us down. They just wear us down, right? So she said, "You can have a dog." So he runs up, and he's looking at the dogs, and the guy's like, "Yeah, you can have a dog. You know, pick one, whichever one you want." All these fluffy-eared dogs are running around, and he's like looking, and then up by the mother dog, this puppy walks from behind the mother dog, and he starts to walk down the hill, and he's limping. It looks like he doesn't have full access of his faculties, and his legs are a little limpy, and he's a little bit smaller than the other dogs. And the boy's like, "Ooh, I want that dog way up there that's running down the hill right now. I want that dog." And the man is like, the woman, she's like, "No, you don't want that dog. That dog is, his legs are not really working. He doesn't have all four legs. He's a little smaller. He's kind of a runt, right? That's not the dog that you want, because you're like a young boy. You're gonna be running around and doing all this stuff. And you want a dog that can run around and do everything that you can do." And he's like, "No, I want that dog." And she's like, "No, you don't want that dog. Like, get one of these dogs." And he's like, "No, I want that dog." And she's like, "Why do you want that dog?" And then he pulls up his right pants leg, and it reveals a steel leg. And he says, "I understand that dog. Because I know what it's like to not be able to do what everybody else can do in the way that they do it. But just because I do it differently doesn't make that it's not any better or worse than what somebody else does." So that dog needs me, because he needs somebody to show him that it's okay. That in the midst of your trials and tribulations, it's all right to stay. And it's all right to say, "I don't have it all together. I'm trying to figure it out too." And just know that you won't be lost forever. You'll hit dry land soon enough. And you'll be able to stand. And the clouds in the sky will eventually part, and there'll be a break. A break in love, a break in the relationship, a break in finance, a break in job opportunity, a break in entrepreneurship. There'll soon be a break, the break that you've been waiting for, because breakthroughs happen because what you went through didn't break you. So hold on in the midst of being lost. Be strong in the midst of being lost. Because sooner than later, you'll be found. Sooner than later, you'll hear a sound of freedom, of bells ringing. And just like the Cuddy song, it won't matter if it's day or night, because you'll be able to walk with your face held upright, because you'll be walking in your truth, understanding that although you went through things that you thought you lost, it was really a lesson that just led you closer to your blessing. Thank you.
Q&A. If anybody would like to just throw out some feelings, something that came up, get a thought from Rashad on that. I don't know, I can't think of a concrete question. Yes?
What's your breakthrough happen for you?
Good question. My breakthrough happened for me. So I think I've had like several breakthroughs. But as a writer and in this life, I've been an artist and an actor for 20 years. But I've just started like really taking this speaking journey professionally over the past year and a half. I took the Periscope class with Arts and Business Council, and yeah, give it up, right? And so I got into this program, and it's an entrepreneur program for artists to teach you how to be entrepreneurs. Because as artists, we're just like, I do my art, and we're not really focused on the business side. And so this class helps you to really understand and grasp the business side. And again, I've been acting for a long time, so I didn't want to approach the class from that perspective, because as an actor, like, it is what it is. Like, I get auditions and I audition, and if I get it, and, so. And then as an artist, from the hip hop spoken word side, I kind of felt like I've accomplished like everything I wanted to do from that perspective. So I was really open. It took like a few weeks before it just kind of hit me like, yo, I go into these companies, into these corporations, and I do these one-offs, kind of like what this is. They'll call me in and they'll say, hey, can you do something for our conference? And I've been doing that since like 2010, 2011, but I hadn't looked at it as like a career. I just looked at it like, oh, this company's calling me in to do something, and I'm gonna do it, and then I'll go back to being an artist. But Periscope kind of helped me to realize that, like, yo, like, you have something that is valuable that you have to offer. And, so I just started from that point to really start to hone the skill, learn more about the business side of it. And I just jumped in, and it's been like a seamless thing. And so it is one of those things where you have had this thing in front of you this whole time, but you haven't been looking at it as something valuable, because you have your thought process, like, I'm focused on this, right? And it's like, well, what do you do that's incredibly, that you do incredibly well, that you're really not focusing on? Maybe that's the thing. And honestly, like, this has opened up the doors for everything else that I do, because it's given me so much freedom to do everything else. So I was hustling, but I was hustling backwards. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's kind of like my breakthrough. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Small voice. Do you have any practical steps or advice for someone who wants to start crossing over from lost to found?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think affirmations are super important, right? Daily affirmations. I have daily affirmations. My children have daily affirmations, because again, if you study the mind, our minds are like supercomputers, and what you think is so paramount to everything else that you do. If you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, it's raining, it's gonna be a sucky day, then your day is probably gonna suck. But it just is. And we talk about, but we get this routine of doing stuff that we don't even realize is routine. You have people that you give compliments to, but they say, oh, you don't need that. It's like, what? No, stop, don't do that. I'm giving you a compliment, take the compliment. Because we're just trained to think negatively. So we change your mindset to start to think positive thoughts about yourself and about your situation. It changes. You can literally trick your brain, right? The conscious mind and subconscious mind, you can trick them. They don't know the difference. So you can control that, and you can control it with what you think. And again, I promise, if people really started to really take that into account of changing how you think, you can change your mindset from because again, you can be lost. But be I'm not where I want to be, but I'm good. I'm gonna figure it out, because it's your mindset, and whatever you put out to the universe is what comes back to you. So if you continue to put out trash and garbage, that's what you're gonna get back. It's when you change that thought process, then things start to change for you, and you can see the difference in the change. So
We got one more question, right in the back.
Do you have a favorite affirmation?
A favorite affirmation. One of my favorites is I'm enough. Because again, we live in this world that kind of tells us you're not doing enough. Oh, you're not doing this. Why aren't you here? You're this age. You should be doing this by now, right? No, I'm unique. I'm one of one. There are 9 billion people on the planet, and not a single one of them is like me. And again, mindset change. when you stop comparing yourself to other people, they're supposed to be doing that. We're not robots. Don't keep on playing around and we're gonna be robots, right? But right now, like, you are unique. You know, it's like you're a collector's item. If you think about it like that, like there's nobody else like you. You are more than enough. And if you start to believe that, man, things change for you. I promise they do. They change for you in an incredible way.
You are unique.
You are unique.
Thank you, Rashad.